Two men arrested for bribing a law enforcement officer. Johnson & Johnson vaccine expected to arrive in Guyana today. Four charged with the murder of KEON McPHERSON. In the region, Peruvian parents protest, demands that school reopens, and internationally, Biden says Kabul evacuations accelerating amid acute threats. Greetings and welcome to another edition of Channel 2 Headline News Update. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. Two men were arrested for bribing a law enforcement officer on the east bank of the Marara. One of the accused bribers is also under investigation for allegedly selling a stolen car. More from Esther Sobers.
Two men were arrested on Friday after they attempted to bribe a police inspector to drop an ongoing investigation into the sale of a tampered vehicle. The $200,000 was offered to the inspector as payment to discard the allegations. Raphael Bagot, a 35-year-old bus driver from Kurukururu on the Suzdijk-Linden Highway, and George Staglin, a 35-year-old mechanic from Sparanam, East Coast Demerara, were arrested on Friday by police ranks at the Golden Grove police station on a fraudulent imitation of an identification mark charge. According to police, the bribery incident occurred around 4:15 p.m. at the Golden Grove police station. The bus driver was in custody at the station at the said time, facing other charges when he made contact with an inspector and offered him $200,000 to forego prosecution of the allegation of the fraudulent imitation, among other offenses. The bus driver then handed the inspector $100,000 and summoned the mechanic, who arrived later with an extra $100,000 and handed it to the inspector as a complete payment. As a result, the Guyana Police Force has launched an investigation which revealed that the bus driver had allegedly sold a Toyota Feeler wagon PYY 9484 with a fraudulent identification mark and a tampered chassis number for $1.7 million. Both men were subsequently arrested for the offense they committed. The $200,000 was lodged as investigations are ongoing. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. Four persons were charged earlier today with the murder of 24-year-old KEON McPHERSON, whose body was discovered with gunshot wounds in a yard at Seafield Sophia on August 15, 2021. Those charged are Nicholas Hercules, Brianna Nurse, Devon Henry, and Peter Lamb. They appeared at the Sparandar Magistrates Court before Magistrate Alicia George and were not required to plead to the indictable charge. According to reports, McPHERSON of the Field Sophia was found lying motionless in a yard at Seafield Sophia. It is alleged that he was killed due to an involvement in a triangular affair. It was reported that a woman telephoned the police and related that a man lying in a yard with what appeared to be bloodstains on his body. Investigations conducted by the Guyana Police Force led to the four people being arrested and charged. They have all been remanded to prison until September 17, 2021. A man in Region 2 has taken his life after stabbing his girlfriend. Esther Sobers has that story.
A heated argument on Saturday morning has left a husband and a father of two dead after he allegedly stabbed his 32-year-old girlfriend before committing suicide. Dead is Andy Williams. The incident reportedly occurred around 900 hours at the Anna Regina Market. Facts reveal that an argument escalated between the two, and Williams whipped out a knife and charged towards the woman. However, she received minor injuries to her left wrist. After the woman escaped, Williams took his own life. He was rushed to the Saudi Public Hospital where he was officially pronounced dead. The woman was treated and discharged. Police investigations are ongoing. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. The Guyana Police Force has issued a wanted bulletin for 27-year-old Shane Samaru, also known as Travis Curtis, of Railway Line, Rosignol, West Bank, Demerara. He is being sought for questioning in connection with the murder of Feroz Khan on August 19, 2021 at Bennett Dam, Rosignol, West Bank, Berbice. Anyone with information that may lead to the arrest of Shane Samaru is asked to contact the police on telephone number 330-2222 or 911 or the nearest police station. Don't go away after the break. Drunken argument quickly escalated into homicide, and Johnson & Johnson vaccine is expected to arrive in Guyana today.
at 4 p.m., the doors for Flavors Hotel, Restaurant and Bar will be opening. We are just opening our doors for the public. Being a new restaurant, new establishment, we want to get kitchens in place, the bar in place, the employees, the staff, the service, so that by the 28th, the grand opening, all systems are in place. There are no falters. Our bar is far beyond anywhere else. We've got lots of specialty drinks that I'm sure Guyana is going to appreciate. Our food is unsurpassed. We have a specialty menu with a certain type of steak, certain type of fish. It's unsurpassed. We bring professionalism to Guyana. You get the best entertainment 7 days a week. We have entertainment. I'm a stickler for jazz, Sunday jazz. I'm pushing jazz. I've got a couple of jazz bands that will be here every Sunday at 6. So please come by. Very creative person, creative in the kitchen. I'm actually a contractor that builds restaurants and bars. So I've kind of perfected the art in Atlanta and New York. And I decided to bring a bit of America to Guyana.
#1 hangout spot, Flavors Hotel Restaurant Bar.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brickdam and White Castle Fish Shop, be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Go to school so that someday I can do something to make a difference.
I'm the first in my family to attend the university, and I won't be the last.
I want my daughter to be able to hold her head up high in this world as a proud, educated woman.
Education has changed my life by giving me the opportunity to make it better.
Welcome back. The Ministry of Health has announced that over the weekend, 3 more persons who tested positive for the novel coronavirus have died, taking the death toll to 594. The patients were admitted with COVID-19-like symptoms but died while receiving care at the government medical institutions. They were a 75-year-old woman from Region 3, a 62-year-old man from Region 4, and a 54-year-old man from Region 3. The Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, in his effort to call on citizens to get vaccinated, has expressed concerns with the low vaccination numbers and low rate of testing in Region 10. The minister said just about 20.7% of the adult population have taken the first dose and some 9.4% have been fully inoculated. The testing rate is extremely low despite 1,555 persons have tested positive and some 47 deaths were recorded in the region. The minister expressed his dissatisfaction with the approach of people in the region to protect themselves from the deadly disease. Minister Anthony also said the government is working tirelessly to secure COVID-19 vaccines for every adult in the country. He added that Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine is expected to arrive in Guyana today. The procurement of the single-dose vaccine was done through an agreement with the Caribbean community and will be used in the government's COVID-19 immunization campaign, particularly in remote parts of the country. Individuals 18 years and older are encouraged to visit any one of the vaccination sites to receive their jabs to protect themselves against the deadly disease. The government is actively pursuing the procurement of the Pfizer vaccine to be administered to children ages 12 to 17. A drunken argument quickly escalated into homicide on the Linden-Susac Highway. Headline News Update, Esther Sobers has more.
Police are investigating the murder of an 18-year-old laborer on Sunday night at Swan Village, Linden-Susac Highway. Dead is Roy Boston of Lot 5 Swan Village, who was allegedly killed by Marlon Gills. According to reports, around 10:15 p.m., the deceased was at a shop in Swan Village consuming alcohol with his friends and family. Several other people went to the shop to consume alcohol and an argument ensued. Investigation revealed that the deceased pulled out a knife and dealt one of the men a stab to his left wrist and left side back. The deceased then began to curse everyone that was there. He and the suspect had a scuffle. The suspect dealt the deceased one stab to his left side chest and cut him on his right thumb finger. Subsequently, Boston fell to the ground, at which time the suspect made good his escape in an unknown direction. The body was taken to the Diamond Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. His body is presently at the Memorial Garden awaiting post-mortem. Checks were made for the suspect, but he has not been found. Investigation is in progress. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. A drunken driver is now in police custody after he lost control of the vehicle he was driving and collided with a tree. According to reports, around 1 p.m. on August 22nd, the owner and driver of motorcar PNN 1366, a white Toyota wagon, was headed west on the Wanena Public Road when the driver, who was under the influence of alcohol, lost control of the vehicle, which ran off the southern side of the road and collided with a tree. As a result, the occupant of the car, 54-year-old Edgar Adams of Husaruru Northwest District, received injuries to his head. He was picked up in a conscious condition by the police and medical personnel and taken to the Mabaruma Regional Hospital. He was examined by a doctor and admitted as a patient suffering from head injuries. His condition is listed as stable. The driver remains in custody as investigations continue. Don't go away after the break. Homeless Haitians sleep rough in stadium turn camp, and Peruvian parents protest. Demands that school reopens, but before that, here's the bridge retraction schedule.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for do a surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome to Kissoon's Furniture. Find everything you need for your home and more under one roof in our newly decorated showroom. Our locally crafted furniture has been perfected over the last 60 years. From our hands to your home, we also bring to you our newly introduced lines of imported furniture and sleep center, where you can find a wide range of beds and mattresses. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 60 years.
For decades, milk has remained the same. Until now. Introducing the Great Dairy Full Cream Milk from Alabama Trading. Enriched with vitamins A to D and calcium to promote healthy teeth, strong bones, and vitality. Great Dairy Milk is delicious and fortified to encourage healthy cell growth within the body. No wonder it's the #1 brand of milk produced in Ireland. Now available nationwide in 400-gram packages at leading supermarkets and wholesale vendors. Distributed by Alabama Trading.
Survival Shopping Complex brings to you its delivery service, Shop Through WhatsApp. This process is simple. All you need to do is call or message your grocery list to 613-9683 and we will select your items for you and have them delivered directly to you, even out of town. This is convenient because we can stay on the phone with you as we select your favorite brands. We're happy to do your shopping for you. Contact us on WhatsApp today and shop Price Smart at Survival Shopping Complex.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at news in the region and around the world. A week on from Haiti's devastating earthquake, survivors are facing severe shortage of aid and shelter. The government is being criticized over its response to the disaster as people struggle to find food, clean water, and even tents. Al Jazeera's John Holman has more.
Lekai Football Stadium has turned into a rough camp for those left homeless by Saturday's earthquake, and a symbol of the lack of help they're getting. Scores of families are struggling in this muddy field. There's no water, toilets, or effective shelter. A piece of plastic to cover your family is a luxury here.
When it rains, we get wet. When you lay down, you get wet. We don't have a tarpaulin. We have nothing but problems.
When we visited them, they'd been there almost a week, but nobody from the government had come to help. Even worse, a camp leader and others we talked to told us that materials that do arrive are being taken by thugs or even law enforcement officers.
When the police come to provide security, they take the aid away and it never comes back. When we go to the police station, we see them taking it to their cars.
Corruption has long been woven into Haitian political life, but right now, with the president recently assassinated, sheer organisational capacity also seems depleted. Here you see the result. Mud, hungry people, all but exposed to the elements. What really strikes you when you come in here is that these aren't even tents. They're just blankets, bit of plastic that are held together on sticks. So we're right in the middle of Haiti's rainy season right now, and a decent storm is just going to knock all of this out. Lenessa Richmond is cooking for others, trying to earn enough for herself and her 4 children to survive and maybe even get out.
I want to get a place to live with my children because I can't spend all my life here. Imagine, it was raining last night, I couldn't sleep. I had to give my mattress to my children and I sat on a bucket to sleep.
Some people were leaving as we filmed. Constant fights over food and shelter have worn them down. But they told us they're only going to another abandoned lot. There's no safe place and no help for them anywhere right now. John Holman, Al Jazeera, Lekai.
Also in the region, thousands of parents and teachers in Peru are rallying, demanding that their government reopen schools. Most children have not been in class since March last year, when the government closed all education facilities due to the coronavirus pandemic. Al Jazeera's Mariana Sanchez reports.
Children, parents and teachers marching together, demanding the government opens up schools. Children say they're fed up studying online since March of last year.
We want to go back to school. We don't want to stay trapped at home behind a screen. We want to go back.
Parents say homeschooling is taking its toll. Children are not learning enough and they're suffering as a result.
They know how to wear masks. I'm more concerned about their mental health. They've been locked up for too long.
When the pandemic hit, nearly 40% of schools had infrastructure problems. Some lacked healthy environments without sewage or even running water. Now these protesters say more than 60,000 schools are ready to receive students, but the government prefers to favor the economy before education.
There's no balance in their policies. I go to a mall and there are thousands of people walking around who seem unconcerned about COVID.
According to a recent UNESCO study, Peru is one of 8 countries whose schools have remained fully closed up until now. More than 10% of schools have partially opened, most in rural areas. Still, poor children are most affected by homeschooling. 12-year-old Carmelita and small brother Jeremias Cecilio share the only cell phone the family owns to study, and it doesn't always work.
La verdad es que me hace un poco difícil.
It's difficult. Sometimes we lose the signal, other times we don't have electricity to charge it. It's very difficult.
While many families are afraid their children may get COVID in school, a recent opinion poll says nearly 70% of parents want schools reopened. Experts say the decision is a risky balancing act.
The risks are very high either way. If we go back to school, there's the risk of contagion. If we don't, the cost will be enormous for our children's future.
On Friday, the government declared a state of emergency for its education system.
The government considers it still too risky to send all the children back to school, not only for them, but for the teachers. Less than 50% of them have received the vaccine.
Officials say the third wave of coronavirus is just beginning and thousands of people could die. That's why they say fully reopening schools now is simply out of the question. Mariana Sanchez, Al Jazeera, Lima, Peru.
And internationally, US President Joe Biden has come under enormous criticism for what some say is a botched departure from Afghanistan. Since August 14th, the US has airlifted 28,000 people out, but tens of thousands of desperate Afghans are still waiting for their turn. Al Jazeera's Phil Lavelle reports.
He was supposed to be concentrating on a hurricane, but all the journalists wanted to know about was this.
We've discussed a lot with the Taliban.
And asked a question he's been asked again and again.
We're 9 days away from the August 31st deadline. Will you extend that deadline?
A sign from President Biden that immovable date might not be immovable after all.
There's discussions going on among us and the military about extending. Our hope is we will not have to extend.
The pictures have been dramatic and heartbreaking. Babies born on planes as families flee. Some dying as they cling to jets taking off. Others trampled to death outside the airport. A massive logistical and humanitarian nightmare.
We are proving that we can move those thousands of people a day out of Kabul. And a lot could still go wrong. But to move out 30,000 people in just over a week, that's a great testament to the men and women on the ground in Kabul and our armed services.
Domestically, President Biden is being hammered from those who prefer Donald Trump.
This was a complete and total surrender and an embarrassing failure.
To those who really didn't.
Terrorist organizations that want to attack the United States now have an entire country as a sanctuary from which to do so.
And even by his own people. Polls out here showing President Biden's approval is down to 50%. Another poll saying he's dropped 8 points on last month. The general consensus among Americans, they do approve of the withdrawal, just not the way the president is handling it. 26 countries have now agreed to take refugees in once they leave Kabul, an effort to relieve pressure on the current processing centres which are reaching capacity before they're brought to the US.
And I've been in personal contact with the leaders of many countries, including Qatar, Germany, Spain, Italy, the UAE, and others. They're making vital contributions.
For many trapped in Kabul with no way out, that seems a long way away.
My heart aches for those people you see.
Those terrified of the Taliban are less interested in sympathy. They want action now and to get out as quickly as they can. Phil Lavelle, Al Jazeera, Washington.
And that is it for today's regional and international news. Here now is your 3-day weather forecast. That is all for this edition of Channel 2 Headline News Update. Tune in on Tuesday at 7 p.m. for another episode. Be sure to subscribe, like, and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Until then, stay safe and take care.